me some time. حتى أصلي. Give me some time. Let me offer my last prayer. Let me offer my last prayer. Right? So he said, okay, on your way, do so. فصلى 4 ركعات. So this person prayed 4 rak'at. Thereafter, ورفع رأسه إلى السماء. He raised the Sahabi, he raised his head to the sky. He raised his hands to the sky and said, Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, calling on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Dhal Arsh al-Majid, Ya Mubdi'u, Ya Mu'id, Ya Fa'alu lima yurid. أسألك بنور وجهك الذي ملأ أركان عرشك وأسألك بقدرتك التي قدرت بها على جميع خلقك وأسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء لا إله إلا أنت يا مغيث أغثني يا مغيث أغثني يا مغيث أغثني. How many times did he say this? 3 times. 3 مرات. No sooner did he say these words, no sooner did he utter these words, all of a sudden the robber sees, and this person, the Sahabi, he sees a person with a horse. A person on a horse. The person on a horse, he strikes the robber. Strikes the robber, kills the robber. And now all of a sudden, the Sahabi is shocked. He said, where did you come from? Where were you a few seconds ago? Where were you a few minutes ago? Where did you come from? So, Allahu Akbar. See, then again, my dear respected brothers and sisters, calling on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ta'arruf ilallahi fi ar-rakha ya'rifka fi ash-shidda. Call on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the time of prosperity, when everything is perfect. Ya'rifka fi ash-shidda. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remember you at the time of destitution. He says, Lama da'awat al-ula. He said, the first time you called. So he said, firstly, he said, who are you? He said, I'm an angel from the 4th sky. That I'm an angel from the 4th sky. Lama da'awt al-ula. He said, the first time you called on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, سمعنا لأبواب السماء قعقع. سمعنا لأبواب السماء قعقع. He said, the first time you called on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the doors of the skies started to shake. The doors of the skies started to shake. He said, the second time you called on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the doors of the skies were opened. The third time you called on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, who is that angel who is ready to help the slave of mine? Who is that angel who is ready to help the slave of mine? The third time I said, Ya Allah, I'm ready to help my slave. Ya Allah, I'm ready to help your slave. And here I am. I stand here before you. I stand here before you. Allahu Akbar. This is, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly, whether they are standing, whether they are sitting, whether they are reclining, right? Throughout their lives, they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, you have someone who calls you every single day. You have someone who calls you once a week. By Allah, you know, you don't need any caller ID. If it's an unknown number, you will recognize him by his voice. Unknown number, you call him, right? Or he calls you. He says, Assalamu alaikum. Just by his salam, you're able to recognize his voice. Just by his salam, you're able to recognize his voice. On the other hand, you have someone who calls you once a year, who calls you twice a year, right? Now you have his contact info, you have his contact, you have his number saved. This person calls you, you look at his number, you read his name, you answer the call, you pick up the phone and you say Assalamu alaikum. He responds by saying Wa alaikum assalam. But then you tell him, you know what, your voice, are you sure you're the same person? That voice is not, you're unable to recognize that voice. It is hard for you to recognize that voice. Why? Because of this huge gap. Right? What is to say of those, my dear respected brothers and sisters, who call on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every single day? Don't you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes their voice? Those who call on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in tahajjud, don't you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes their voice? Those who call on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at suhoor, don't you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes their voice? Those who call on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in prosperity, don't you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help them at the time of destitution? So this is one thing, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand. Calling on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third portion. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Allahu Akbar. See, if I talk for too long, what will happen? What kicks in? Slumber kicks in, right? I'll begin to yawn, right? Why? Because I am weak, right? Human being. Same goes for you. You have been given a job, you start to write or you start to study, ask university students, right? 1 hour, for the first hour, energetic. 2 hours, energetic. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. What happens? Slumber kicks in, right? Drowsiness, get tired, and then eventually they fall asleep. When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Oh my slaves, sleep is for you." Not doing word for word translation. "Oh my slaves, sleep is for you, slumber is for you, drowsiness is for you. I don't sleep. I don't sleep, let alone sleep. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم." Sina means drowsiness, yawn. This Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and this is the difference between creation and creator, right? We get tired. We are weak, we go to sleep. We are given one job. For example, just one thing. Just as, for example, sweeping the floor, right? Just sweeping a small area, right? You sweep that floor, you get tired, you get fed up, you get tired, right? Just 1 second, sorry. Excuse me. So yeah, sweeping the floor, you get tired. See, in the first hour or the first few minutes, you're okay, you're energetic. After some time, you get tired. After some time, you say, "My hands are hurting, right? Allahu Akbar. This is a small task that you and I are given. This is a small task that we do, right? When it comes to driving, right? You drive for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, right? A time comes when you get tired. A time comes when you get tired. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is responsible for the sun? Who is responsible for the moon? Who is responsible for the rotation of this earth? Who is responsible for the rotation and the spinning of our planets? Who is responsible for the universe? Who is responsible for feeding the animals? Who is responsible for feeding us? Imagine, look at this is the task of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. Right? There isn't a single animal, a single creature on the face of this earth except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken its provisions upon himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feeds us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does all of these things. And yet what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not fall asleep. Oh human, this is your quality. You get tired. You are weak. You get tired. You fall asleep. You can't perform anything. You have a security guard, right? You are monitoring you're watching something, you're surveilling something. After some time you get tired, your eyes get tired, the ears get tired, the hands get tired, the feet get tired, your body starts to ache, you have different aches, different problems, you fall asleep. Drowsiness kicks in and you fall asleep, right? But when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu la ilaha illa hu, our creator is so powerful, he never falls asleep. No task can ever tire him. No job can ever tire him. This is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Moving on to the fourth Jumla of this ayah. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is whatever is in the skies and whatever is in this earth and in the oceans, whatever is on this earth. Subhanallah, you look at the stars, billions and billions and trillions of stars. All belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we mentioned on the first day, as we speak, as we talk on the face of this earth, we understand that the sky, the universe is expanding. As the universe expands, Allahu Akbar, the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expands. The kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expands. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. And just understanding how many, and subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, not only us, we understand our number. See, look, humans, how many humans are there on the face of this earth? 9 billion, 10 billion, roughly, right? Not knowing the exact figures, roughly 9 to 10 billion, right? Humans on the face of this earth, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of them. Not only this, we all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only this, jinns are more in number. Jinns are more in number than insan. They belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only jinns, malaika are more in number than jinns and in sun. They all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only this, according to one study, scientists say there are roughly 8.7 million species on the face of this earth, let alone us, my dear respected brothers and sisters, let alone jinns, let alone malaika. 8.7 million have been discovered. Allahu a'lam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. How many more exist? We don't know them, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows them. 8.7 million, let alone 8.7 million, millions and trillions of us, millions and trillions of species, they all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not only our king, He's not only the king of jinns, He's not only the king and the Rabb of malaika, He is the Rabb of everything. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Whatever's in the skies, whatever's on earth. Moving on. مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Right. No one can intercede. Now here's the thing we have to understand, right? Prophets will intercede on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Shuhada will intercede on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Ulama will intercede. Pious people will intercede on Yawm al-Qiyamah. But this shafa'ah, who is giving them this intercession without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these people are not able to intercede on the behalf of others. Right? You can't intercede on someone's behalf. You can't intercede for someone. Even whether you talk about shuhada, whether you talk about siddiqeen, whether you talk about ulama, and whether you talk about prophets. Even prophets, they can't intercede without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of each and every single thing we do, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Nothing is hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now today a person thinks he can outsmart Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today this insan thinks they can outsmart Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're about to do something, you make sure everyone is asleep. You make sure everyone is asleep. You make sure all the cameras are off. You make sure the doors are locked. You make sure the lights are off. You make sure no one is there. You are the only person who is there. Everyone is off. Everyone is sleeping. The entire world can sleep. The animals can sleep. The animals in the ocean, the creatures in the ocean, they can sleep. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَا تَأْخُذُهُ سِنَةٌ وَلَا نَوْمٌ. You make sure that all the cameras are off, but there is one surveillance. There is one surveillance that is on 24/7, and that is the surveillance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the surveillance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You make sure all eyes are shut. You make sure all eyes are shut. No one is watching you when you are committing this deed. No one is watching you, whether it be a good deed or a bad deed. Whether it be a good deed or a bad deed. You make sure that all eyes are closed, but there are two eyes that never fall asleep. The eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is awake. Then again, now understanding, one thing I would also like to clarify, we do not give human characteristics to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is just a side note I would like to mention. As I said earlier, the two eyes, I meant the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it is not in our aqidah to give human characteristics to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So it is false for us to say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has eyes the way we have eyes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has hands the way we have hands. Right? The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something which is far beyond our capability, beyond our comprehension. Okay? So the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? That's what I was saying. يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware. No matter what you do, you make sure everything. And not only this, subhanAllah, at times, this is to show our weakness. You have this to try, go inside a room, lock that room, make sure there's no light coming inside. Make sure there's no light coming inside. You're in that room. It is just yourself. The door is locked. The lights are off. You stick your hand out. Your hand is nearly a few centimeters away from your face. You can't see your hand, but by Allah, there is someone, let alone see your hand, He's able to see right through your heart, who is none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. Moving on, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. Nothing can overtake the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing can overtake the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah. You know, you take all of our knowledge together, bring all our knowledge together, and yet the knowledge of Sahaba surpass and excel our knowledge. You take the knowledge of Sahaba, you compare that to the knowledge of prophets. By Allah, the knowledge of prophets is far superior, far greater than the knowledge of Sahaba ajma'in. By Allah, you take the knowledge of prophets, you take the knowledge of each and every single creation, right? All creation, you take all their knowledge, you take the knowledge of prophets, you take the knowledge of malaika, you take the knowledge of jinns, you take the knowledge of insan. By Allah, the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far greater than the knowledge of His creation. Right? Nothing can overtake the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, for example, let's say there are 3 people sitting in the room, right? And you're the 4th person there. You are talking to these people, right? Now, what do you say? Now, if they overpower you, let's say you have this discussion, right? You're involved in this argument, this discussion. Now, you say, you know what? I'm sorry. You know, it's 3 minds against 1. 3 minds against 1, right? This is what you say. You know, come on, let's have one-on-one. You know, it's 3 minds against 1, right? Their knowledge has overtaken your knowledge, right? By Allah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were to create another nation, nations after nations, and every nation was smarter than the previous nation, every nation was stronger, smarter, and everything, you know, better in all aspects than the previous nation, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. Nothing, none of these people, no one can overtake the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kursi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they encompass everything. They are above everything. وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. The 9th jumla. وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. Protection of this world does not tire out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. And the last jumla, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far beyond and far greater and above everyone, and He is the greatest. Now, moving on, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Now, inshallah, we will finish 3rd juz today. This was, we just needed to elaborate a little on this. Now, moving forward, ayah number 256. Just one small portion, one small part of this ayah that I would like to cover. La ikraha fid din. There is no force in deen, my dear respected brothers and sisters. This is something that we have to understand. We have been given a choice. See, had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing is hard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is something that we have to understand, right? Nothing is hard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, each and every single person on the face of this earth would be a Muslim today. They would all be Muslims today, whether you talk about someone living in Russia, someone living in the States, living across the world, living across the globe, every single will be a Muslim, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had ordained something else for us, right? We were given a different task, right? And what is our purpose? And what is the reason why we have been given a choice, right? It is to test us, right? To test us, you have this option and you have this option. What are you going to take now? Halal fashion, haram fashion. What are you going to adopt, right? La ikraha fi din. And this is something that, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to, not only teach our children, and this is something what we have to tell others too. La ikraha fi din. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This isn't only for us. This is for all of mankind. La ikraha fi din. And this is an answer to those who say, the women folk are obliged to wear the niqab. They're not obliged. They're not forced. You are forced, but Islam forces you to do this. And it's sad that a lot of Muslims think like this too. Islam has forced me to do this. Islam has forced me to pray salah. No, Islam is telling you to pray salah. Look, there's a difference, right? Islam is telling you, look, this is made obligatory for you, okay? It is made obligatory. It is mandatory for you to pray. Now, whether you pray or not, that is up to you. Fast is obligatory. It is mandatory, right? Whether you fast or not, this is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, you fast, you'll be compensated. You don't fast, you'll be punished. Okay? You've been given a choice, right? The same thing goes for niqab. Right? And it is an answer to those who say that, the women folk they go through so much, they are forced to do this, they are forced to wear the niqab, this and that, and etc., and all this garbage that people have against Islam. No, la ikraha fi din. Islam, and this is an answer, la ikraha fi din, an answer to those who say Islam was spread through the striking of a sword. If Islam, and this is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand, by Allah, the greatest religion by Allah, the greatest religion on the face of this earth is the religion of Islam. This is something, not only do we say iqrar bil lisan, but tasdiq bil qalb. Right? We really mean it. Whether we are, I'm addressing everyone, the women folk, men folk, right? The children, everyone. Right? This is something that we believe in. Islam is truly the greatest of our religions. Islam is the greatest. Right? Islam is the greatest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest. Right? Excuse me. So they say Islam was spread through the sword. Okay, so this is how you counterattack, right? You say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had many swords in his possession, right? So which sword did he use on Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to convince him to embrace Islam? You tell me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had many swords. Which sword did he use on Umar radiallahu anhu? Ya Umar, embrace Islam right now. Which sword, you tell me, which sword was used for Ali radiallahu anhu? Which sword was used for Hamza radiallahu anhu? Which sword was used for Bilal radiallahu anhu? Suhaib radiallahu anhu? Right? No sword was used. And see, and this is something, my dear respected brothers and sisters, Islam was not spread through sword. Islam was spread through love. It was spread through love. On one occasion, a captive was tied to the pillar, one of the pillars of Masjid al-Nabawi, right? For 3 days. He was a captive. Tied there for 3 days. Now he was witnessing and watching, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no one go near him, no one do anything to him, right? And not only this, not a single Muslim went up to him and said, embrace Islam right now, embrace Islam right now. In answer to those who say Islam, Islam forces you to do things, right? No one went up to him. This person was tied to one of the pillars of Masjid al-Nabawi, tied to one of the pillars, right? Then what happens? After the 3rd day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam unties this person. And he says, oh person, just asking him, oh person, do you wish to embrace Islam? He says, no. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, okay, you're on your way. You're on your way. Right? Now this person, goes to the nearest river, takes a shower, comes back, tells Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, what is the kalima? Teach me the kalima. I am ready to embrace right now. I'm ready to embrace Islam right now. Force? So you tell me, was force used? Force used, right? Upon one occasion, Ali radiallahu anhu, he's in a battle against another person, against a disbeliever. Ali radiallahu anhu is on top of that person. The person who's beneath him, he spits on his face. He spits on his face. Right away, Ali radiallahu anhu, he backs away and walks away. This person, he's astonished, he's shocked. He's in a state of shock and he's in a state of awe. He calls him back. He said, Ya Ali, wait. So what did you do? You were on top of me. You were about to finish me off. And then what happened? He said, before I was fighting you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the moment you spat on my face, it became personal. The moment you spat on my face, it became personal. I didn't want to kill you because of myself. I was only killing you before for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No sooner did Ali radiallahu anhu utter these words, the person says, Ya Ali, drops his weapon and says, Ya Ali, teach me the kalima. Ya Ali, teach me the kalima. I wish to embrace Islam. SubhanAllah, that person embraced Islam. So then again, my dear respected brothers and sisters, it wasn't spread through any force. It wasn't spread through any sword. Islam was spread through love. Just love. Right. Now, From ayah 256, sorry, from ayah 257 to 260 starts the discussion of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And as I mentioned, this is something we will discuss later on, inshallah. From ayah 261 to 274 starts another discussion, the discussion of sadaqah and the fada'il of spending, the merits of spending in the path and the virtues of spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right, here starts a new discussion. Now, my dear respected brothers and sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, Al-yad al-ulya khayrun min al-yad al-sufla. Right. The hand that is on top is better than the hand that is on the bottom. Right. What does this mean? When you give in charity, right, you are giving, when a person gives in charity, that is yad al-ulya. Right. When you receive, this is khayrun min al-yad al-sufla. Right. So giving in fi sabilillah is far greater than receiving something, asking for money. Right. And when a person, when a person spends money in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when a person spends money in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let alone people, there are people that make dua for you, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you more wealth, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase your wealth immensely, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you immensely, they make dua for you, let alone people, my dear respected brothers and sisters. When we give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, angels make dua for us. Allahumma a'ti, Ya Allah, give that person more who spends in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Allah, give that person more who spends in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only this, مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدُ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدُ. Today we think that whatever we have today, if I give, for example, you have $40, right? If I give $20 in fi sabilillah, na'udhu billah, $20, we treat it as if that $20 is going to waste, na'udhu billah. No, that $20, what you have, مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدُ, what you have, the $20 that you have in your pocket, that will go to waste. How will it go to waste? You will either buy food with that money, you will either, buy some game, you will either buy some cards, or whatever you will do with that money will go to waste, right? But whatever you give in fi sabilillah, for example, the $20 that you are giving, the $20 you are giving, the $40 that you are giving, that goes into your savings account in the hereafter, right? That goes into your savings account. Excuse me. And my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand this, that giving, as it comes in hadith, giving $1, 1 dirham, when you are healthy, during your life, throughout your life, is far greater than spending of thousands of dirham and dananir at the time of death. Why? And when you look at it, it makes absolute sense. It makes perfect sense, right? For example, and I'll just give an example of like a high school student or someone who goes to school. For example, you have Hilroy paper, right? And you go to school, you have someone, and you write a lot, right? And you need all these papers, and you have your pens with you, you have your pencils with you. Now, when someone asks you for a piece of paper, for a sheet of paper, you're a little hesitant. You know why? Because you have need for that piece of paper. You need that piece of paper. Let's say you have 1 pencil, right? You don't have a spare, right? Or let's say you have 2 pencils or 2 pens. You go to school. Someone may ask you for a pencil. You are hesitant throughout your, when you are studying, you are a little hesitant. Why are you hesitant? Not because you're stingy. You are hesitant because you have value for it. You are hesitant. If I lose this pen, I won't be able to finish my assignments. If I lose this pen, I won't be able to do my work. This is the last few sheets of paper that I have. I need to do my work. You have value for it. But the last day of school, someone comes to you, and that someone, that your friend asks you, oh, can I have that pen? You'll be like, let alone this pen, take all the pens that I have. Let alone this sheet of paper, take my entire binder with you. Why? Because you have no care at that point, right? Similarly, when we live our lives, money, this is something we hold true value to, right? We have value for this. whether it's $5, $20. Why? Because you know with $5 you can buy something, $20 you can buy something, $100 you can buy something, $500 you can buy that, $1,000 you can buy that, you can buy that MacBook, $2,000 you can buy that MacBook Pro. You know, you have value for that. At the time of death, the only thing you are in need of is du'as. The only thing you are in need of are du'as. That's it. You have no value for money. At that point, a person says, you know what? Ya Allah, I'm ready to give my entire wealth. Ya Allah, I'm a millionaire. I'm ready to give my entire wealth. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? No, no, no. Oh, my slave, when you were healthy, I wanted to see at that point. Were you able to sacrifice? Were you able to give your money in fi sabilillah at that point? Right? And this is my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to understand, this is what counts. Right? When we are young, the deeds that we perform when we are young are far superior and greater in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than those that are done at old age. At old age, obviously, it will come in because the person thinks, you know, I'm about to pass away, I'm going to die, you know, I'm about to pass away, so might as well give some charity, might as well pray some more salah, might as well go for more umrah, might as well go for hajj, might as well do this, might as well do that, right? And then you have all these different excuses, but throughout your life, right? When you have energy, but that energy is being utilized for what? For praying salah. You have wealth today, but that wealth is being utilized for giving in fi sabilillah. Right? That wealth, where are you putting that wealth? Where are you placing that wealth? You are giving that wealth in fi sabilillah. Right? So it's, you know, giving charity, doing something right now, doing something when you're healthy is far valuable in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Then as I mentioned earlier, you know, someone giving 1 dirham during his life when he was healthy is far greater than giving 1,000 dirham at his deathbed. Right? Now, just a small short story. On one occasion, a sa'il, subhanAllah, hopefully this is, you know, is a means of encouragement for us, right? These stories are to entice us, right? To motivate us, to encourage us, right? On one occasion, a sa'il, a beggar, came to Ali radiallahu anhu. So Ali radiallahu anhu, he said to his son Hassan radiallahu anhu, اذهب إلى أمك فقل لها تركت عندك 6 دراهم فهاتي منها درهما. Right. Ali radiallahu anhu, he tells Hassan radiallahu anhu, go to your mother and tell your mother that the father is saying, that I am saying, I have left 6 dirham, 6 darahim with you. فهاتي منها درهما, only give me 1. That's it. Right? 6 dirham. You have 6, we have 6 darahim. For example, $6. I'm only asking for 1. I'm only asking for 1 dirham. Right? So the response of Fatima radiallahu anha, the response of Fatima radiallahu anha was, I have left this. This is for barley. This is for us, so we can give food, so we can prepare food for, you know, with the amount of this money, right? For the amount of this money. Now, Ali radiallahu anhu, he says, so Hassan radiallahu anhu, he comes back to Ali radiallahu anhu and he says, you know, this is what Fatima, this is what radiallahu anha is saying, this is what my mother is saying, that, you know, you were asking for 1, but my mother is saying, you know, these 6 darahim, they're made for daqiq, they were for daqiq, they were going to be used for barley, for our food, for our consumption. So Ali radiallahu anhu says, I only asked for 1. Now, you go back to your mother and tell her I need all 6. Give me all 6 darahim. Right? Give me all 6 darahim. Now, one second. Excuse me. Now what happened? This person, he takes the 6 darahim and he walks away. He goes back. He goes away. No sooner does this person goes away, passes by, another person comes. Right? Another person comes and he has his camel with him. Right? He has his camel with him. Who he wishes to sell. This person has his camel with him who he wishes to sell. So Ali radiallahu anhu says, how much are you selling this for? Right? So this person says, I'm selling this for 200 dirhams. 240 darahim. Just one second. I'm not able to use this app properly. Yes, sorry about that. There's a little problem in this app. Yes, so another person comes and then Ali radiallahu anhu says, how much are you selling this for? So this person says, I'm selling this for 140. Right? I'm selling this for 140. Sorry. I'm selling this camel for 140. So Ali radiallahu anhu tells that person, okay, come back after 8 days and I will have your wealth. Okay, I will come back after 8 days and I will give you this. So that person goes away. Now what happens? Another person comes by, and Ali radiallahu anhu says to him, would you like to buy this? The person says, yes. How much are you selling this for? So Ali radiallahu anhu says, I'm selling this for 200. Right? He purchased it for how much? بِمِئَةِ وَأَرْبَعِينَ. He purchased it for 140. How much is Ali radiallahu anhu is selling it for? He is selling it for 200. Right? So the person gave him 200. Right? The person gave him 200. Now that person comes back, right? Whom Ali radiallahu anhu bought this camel from, right? How much does Ali radiallahu anhu give him? He gives him 40. Okay? So just a little recap, so those who don't get confused. Ali radiallahu anhu, how many dirahim does he have? He has 6, right? A beggar comes, Ali radiallahu anhu gives him 6. Okay? He goes away. Another person comes. Ali radiallahu anhu says, I would like to buy this camel, right? As that person was selling this camel. The person says, what is your price? Ali radiallahu anhu says, 140. Right? I can give you 140 in 8 days. So that person leaves the camel there and he goes away. A third person comes and he says, whose camel is this? I would like to buy this camel. Ali radiallahu anhu says, it is my camel. So the person says, what is your price? How much are you selling this for? Ali radiallahu anhu says, I am selling this for 200. 200. Okay? Understanding? Hope everyone is with me. I'm selling this for 200 dirahim. Right? So this person gives 200 dirahim to Ali radiallahu anhu. Right? Ali radiallahu anhu, from 200, he gives 140 to that person who he owed, who he had to give 140. Now he is left with how much amount? He is left with 60 dirahim. Right? Comes with 60 dirahim, gives them back to Fatima radiallahu anha. Now Fatima radiallahu anha, she is shocked. She said, I gave you 6 and now you are giving me 60? What does Ali radiallahu anhu say? Ali radiallahu anhu says, this is not my promise. I am not doing this. This is not my doing. This is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَ اللَّهُ عَلَى لِسَانِ نَبِيهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. This is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَنْ جَاءَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ فَلَهُ عَشْرُ أَمْثَالِهَا. You give $1 in charity in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is as if you have given $10 in charity. Multiplies. Right? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Allahu Akbar. Now you give $1 in charity, right? It's as if you have given 10. Right? Imagine the month of Ramadan. You give $1, just $1. It's not as if you are giving 10. By Allah, who knows? See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies it to such an amount where we don't even know how much the total amount that is going in our bank, right? We are unaware of that amount, right? It's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We may be giving $1, we may give $1, but in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our rewards can be multiplied by 10, it can be multiplied by 20, and it can even be multiplied by 100. So you give $1 in charity, it's not as if you are giving $10. Who knows, maybe you are giving in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thousands of dollars in charity. Right. Now Aisha radiallahu anha, she had one practice. What was her practice? إذا تصدقت بدرهم وضعته في المسك. Right. Whenever she would intend to give any money in fi sabilillah, she would first put it in a pouch of musk, where she would first put some fragrance on it. Right. some scent on it. So people, before giving it in charity, so people question, فَسَأَلَهَا بَعْضُهُم, so people question Aisha رضي الله عنها, لِمَاذا تَضَعِينَ الدَّرَاهِمْ فِي الْمِسْكِ يَا أُمَّ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, O al-Mu'mineen, why do you do this? Why do you do this, O al-Mu'mineen? Why do you put this dirham in musk? Why do you put this fragrance over it? Why do you cover this in fragrance? Why do you put scent on it? Right? So subhanAllah, look at her response. لِأَنَّنِي أَضَعَهُ فِي يَدِ اللَّهِ قَبْلَ أَنْ أَضَعَهُ فِي يَدِ الْمِسْكِينِ. Because I am placing this in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before I place it in the hands of miskin. Right? SubhanAllah. And Hasan Basri rahimahullah used to say, right, he used to carry sugar with him. He used to carry sugar in his pocket. So people questioned him that, why do you carry sugar in your pocket? Why do you carry sugar in your pocket? He responds by saying, لِأَنَّنِي أُحِبُّهُ, because I love sugar, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. I love sugar. This is why whenever I see a poor person, I give him sugar. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. That you will never reach piety. You will never reach piety, right? You will never reach piety until you spend from that which you love. This is my love. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now wants to see. Now subhanAllah, we have love for what? As we all know, وَلَنْ يَمْلَأَ فَاهُ إِلَّا تُرَابٌ. We have this wealth. We have love for this wealth. So how can we reach that state, that pinnacle of piety, right? If we don't spend money in fi sabilillah. Right. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not, see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see our intentions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see, is my love greater than your love? Is my love greater than the love you have for wealth? I want my love to be greater than greater than the love that you have for that thing which you love. It could be, it could be anything, right? Majority of us, it is wealth for us, right? So as long as we don't spend wealth, as long as we don't give some charity, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying give all of it in charity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying give everything in charity. No, give something in charity. This is a sign that, Ya Allah, we are ready to sacrifice our wealth, Ya Allah, for your sake, out of your love. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of this. Now, from ayah number 275 to the end of Ruku, this discussion is discussion of riba, discussion of usury, right? And then again, my dear respected brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really protect us from this. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this haram, there are people who look for different ways to make it halal. Right? Allah, Lana Anwar Shah Kashmiri rahimahullah was asked, what is the greatest punishment for a sin? The greatest punishment of a sin. I'll say it again, Mulana Anwar Shah Kashmiri rahimahullah was asked, can you tell us? He was asked by people, approached by people, tell us, remind us of the greatest punishment of a sin. Greatest punishment. Now, my dear respected brothers and sisters, as we understand and as we read these ayahs, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Right? You have someone who misses salah. You have someone who misses salah. He has his punishment. Right? You have someone who misses his fast on purpose. There is a punishment for him. You have someone who lies. There is a punishment for him. You have, after shirk, right, the biggest punishment, right, after shirk, as according to Lana Anwar Shah Kashmiri rahimahullah, he says when a person commits these acts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them a punishment, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, you are not fasting, this is your punishment. You are not praying, this is your punishment. You are lying, this is your punishment. But when a person gets involved in usury and interest, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wages war against that person. Well, Anwar Shah Kashmiri rahimahullah says when a person misses his salah, whether you miss your salah on purpose, you have someone who misses his salah on purpose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. You have someone who doesn't go for Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. I wage war against you, not only myself, but my Prophet wages war against you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say to those who don't go for Umrah, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say to those who who lie, who backbite, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this to those who get involved in usury and interest. فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. O slaves of mine, if you get involved in usury, if you involve yourselves in usury, then know this, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. You can't fight a single virus here. We can't fight a single flu here. How are we going to fight? How are we going to withstand the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We can't fight COVID-19 here, right? Get all the doctors together. They're putting their minds together. They can't fight against this, right? They can't do anything. They're helpless. All doctors are helpless. Everyone is helpless. Adhan is being played. Adhan is being played out loud in masajid, where I was hearing, I believe it was in Minneapolis or some other place in the States where Adhan was being played out loud, right? Parts of Germany and other parts of the world, right? Turning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they have no other option, right? So usually when a person gets involved in usury, when you are, na'udhu billah, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, this is something that's very scary, right? For example, if someone tells you, I will hit you, or I will wage war against you if you do this, you carry that action. Why do you carry that action? You carry that action because now a person thinks that I cannot be overpowered. I'm only carrying that action because I have enough to fight back, right? Otherwise, for example, you have the older brother, he tells his younger brother that don't do this, otherwise I'll punch you. The younger brother abstains. He doesn't do it. Why? Because he can't go against it, right? Now you have two people, right? Two people, the same age. One of them says, don't do this, otherwise I will hit you. Now the other one carries that action out. Why does he carry that action out? He is trying to show and he is proving that, you know what, no matter what you tell me, I have the power to withstand your energy, I have the power to fight back. Now, my dear respected brothers and sisters, when this is a warning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, I wage war, my Prophet, we wage war against those who get involved, who take interest in usury. Now, those people, na'udhu billah, who are involved in riba, they are claiming they can go and they have enough to fight against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na'udhu billah. Right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wages war against these people, and these people are saying, you know what, I have now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, don't do this. And yet we go out and say, you know what, credit cards are okay. Let me just go and buy let me buy a credit card. And what do? Our credit cards are maxed out, 50,000, 60,000, whatever it is. We use all of that money. Now we are paying what? Interest. We say, oh, limited amount. I'm just paying limited amount. Yeah, that limited amount is interest, right? $1,000, $2,000. See, one thing you have to understand: don't please, I beg you, don't get involved in this. Please don't get involved in this, right? A person today thinks, and what is the biggest reason why, countries and different places and different cities, they go through inflation, right? They go through all sorts of problems. What is the biggest reason why why all of this happens? The destruction of the economy. Should I tell you the destruction of the economy is simply on the fact that we have interest today? Economies, countries, cities are destroyed because of what today? Interest. They're destroyed because of interest, nothing else. Interest has destroyed economies. No interest, see how we flourish, right? It is because of this interest we are destroyed today, right? Similarly, my dear respected brothers, now see, these are the tricks of shaitan. Today, when a person buys, let's say you buy a credit card. right? At first you have $500, right? Your limit is, your cap is $500. And see, look, connecting the dots here, right? You have $500, right? Now, let's say you buy something, you purchase something. Interest does not apply as long as you pay that amount. You pay the full amount before the due date, right? You're supposed to pay now August 28th, for example, is the due date. Before that, you pay $500, right? Now, what do these people tell you? Now they tell you, oh, wow, mashallah, you've got a really good credit. We are going to up your amount. We will double your amount. We'll give you $1,000. Now a person is able to pay $1,000 to. Then they say, you know what? $3,000, $5,000. Then see what's happening. A person is following his nafs. A person follows his desires. $5,000. Now, when a person uses $5,000, he's not able to pay back on time. You use $4,000. Do you really think you can pay $4,000 right before the due date? You can't. But they tell you, you know what? Your credit score is good. You know what? We'll give you more money. We'll give you more money. $10,000. That person says, yeah, $10,000. Okay, let me just take $10,000. You use all that, all that money. Even if you use $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, you're not able to pay it back. You're not able to pay it back, and now you are involving yourself. Now you get involved in usury and interest, right? فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Right before you take this step, you have to know the consequences, right? Now, similarly, my dear respected brothers and sisters, for example, let's say you were asked to just jump inside a cage, whether you talk about the octagon, whether you talk about the boxing ring, right? Just step inside for a few seconds. You will think twice. You will say, you know what? Can I really go against that boxer? Can I really go against that UFC fighter? Can my body take that punishment? You think twice. But when it comes to usury, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, we don't think twice. Yeah, as if, na'udhu billah, we are well equipped to fight Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his messenger. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from this. I mean, starting from now, ayah number 282. Ayah number 282 until 283. This is, then again, just roughly going over this, just briefly going over this, right? Not going in full details. Lending of money, right? Understanding few simple principles, and inshallah see how your life becomes easy. You won't be faced with any depression, any stress. It is very easy. See, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه. Now this was at that time. Now this is for us as well, right? Now Sahaba radiallahu anhum, now we would understand when they would give money to one another, right? Lending money, you give money to someone, right? You let someone borrow money. Back in the days, right, writing wasn't that common. Today, speaking is qa'im maqam of writing, right? Or writing is qa'im maqam of speaking. Right, so they would just say, okay, I've given this to you, and now this is done. I'm giving you $20 for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they would have witnesses. You're a witness, and I'm a witness, and everyone's, who was here, they're a witness, and that is it. You take your wealth, and after, a date was decided, it was written down, whether it was a day or a month or the year, all of that was written down, and then they would, it was all said, and then they would go back, right? So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا تَدَايَنْتُمْ بِدَيْنٍ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمًّى فَاكْتُبُوهُ. To be saved, to be on the safe track, فَاكْتُبُوهُ, write it down. And this is for us, my dear respected brothers and sisters. And honestly, by Allah, see, then again, هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This book is a guidance for us in all of our, all aspects of life, all walks of life, right? This can, and subhanAllah, the problem, I'll get into the problems right now. When we lend money to someone, for example, $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever it may be, right? You have so much love for that person, right? You say, I love, it's okay, whether it's your brother, it's your sister, whoever it is, right? You give him money, $50, or let's move on to a bigger amount. You give him $1,000, $3,000, right? And you say, give it to me whenever you want, right? Or, so you tell him, I give it to me next year. Now that person meets you after some time, and you say, where's my wealth? Now there were no witnesses, nothing was written down. This person, a person forgets that what he ate yesterday, and now people will forget, you're talking about something that happened a year back. And some people, now they forget on purpose, and some people just forget, right? Now this person doesn't know. He's like, do I really owe you $1,000? Do I really owe you $22,000? And because of this, a lot of, this leads to many other problems, right? Then now you don't want to see that person, whether it's your brother. Brothers and brothers are not meeting with one another. Why? Because this brother had taken some amount from his brother. He's not paying it back because now this brother doesn't even know that he had taken some amount from him, right? Causing so many problems. So there are a few rules that we need to understand. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Write the amount down. $2,000. Okay, $3,000. Write that down. And the person who's writing this information down, he should be neutral, right? He shouldn't favor one party. He has an inclination towards him, and he's away from that person. No, a neutral person. He writes it down. Write the amount down. And write the currency down. U.S. dollars, Canadian dollars, whatever you're giving, please write that down. Then write the date down. I'm giving it to you on this date. Inshallah, I will return it to you on that date. That's it. Simple. Then again, have witnesses. Last but not least, have witnesses. How many witnesses should you have? 2 men roughly, right? 2 men or 1 man and 2 women. Now we understand generally shahada of 1 man or only 2 women are now generally shahada of 1 man or only 2 women, the shahada of these people, generally speaking, are not accepted, right? They're not accepted. Just 1 man and only or 2 women, right? So what you can do is have two men, right? But obviously, or you have 1 man and 2 women. That is it, right? These are your witnesses. Write the amount down. Save yourself from trouble, right? I tell you, today we say, I have love for that person. I love him so much, and it's okay, I'll give him money. By Allah, I tell you this, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in had more love for one another than the love that we have for one another. They had more love for one another than we have love for our own brothers and sisters, right? They had more love than us. They had more love than us, and in spite of their love, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell them? فَاكْتُبُوهُ. Write this down. And they would write it down. Right? So you don't need to be a Sufi, you don't need to be anything else or anyone else that, it's okay, I've forgiven it. And then tomorrow when the time comes, when you need that money, you go to that person, you say, you know what, you really owe them. You owe me some money. And now that person either forgets it or he tells you that, nothing was written down, or, you said to me that you don't need it. Right? And now because of this, you get involved in you get involved in this kerfuffle, you get involved in this argument and all that stuff. Right? So it's best to write it down. This is the simple usul, this is the simple principle. Now, coming on to the last ruku of Surah Baqarah, yes. لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير إلى آخر السورة, until the very last of the surah. Now here, another thing that you have to understand as well, a lot of people, they question about having different thoughts, having different insinuations. I have these thoughts. Will I be held accountable on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Am I responsible for these thoughts? What happens if I exercise these thoughts? What is going to happen? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has kept this usul, this principle, very simple for us, and it's very beautiful, subhanallah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as we find in hadith, act upon this, inshallah, I tell you, majority of your problems will be solved. All these, we have these different dilemmas, am I thinking right? Is my intention correct? Am I doing this? Am I not doing this? Firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you responsible, which is out of your capability. That's number one. That is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that is out of your capability, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you responsible. Right? Now, when it comes to performing actions, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْحَسَنَاتِ وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written good deeds and bad deeds. ثُمَّ بَيَّنَ ذَلِكَ. Thereafter he narrates them, he relates them, describes them. فَمَنْ هَمَّ بِحَسَنَةٍ. Here's the thing we have to understand. فَمَنْ هَمَّ بِحَسَنَةٍ. You have someone who thinks of a good deed. فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. Allahu Akbar. Mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَا غَرَّكَ بِرَبِّكَ الْكَرِيمِ. Why do we turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَمَنْ هَمَّ بِحَسَنَةٍ, you think of doing something. You think of giving sadaqah. You think of going to the masjid. You think of doing something good. فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا, but you don't act upon it. كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. Oh my slave, it is as if you have, I will give you, it is, for example, you have someone who intends to give sadaqah in fi sabilillah, $20 in fi sabilillah, right? You wish to give $20 in fi sabilillah. Because of some reason or somehow, some way, you're not able to give $20 in fi sabilillah, but you have this intention, right? Or let's say this person passes away. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Then again, having sincere intention, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Oh my slave, don't worry. I have written for you, it is as if you have given $20 in charity. This person hasn't given anything, just the intention. You just made the intention. فَمَنْ هَمَّ بِحَسَنَةٍ فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا. You don't carry out that action. كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. On the other hand, وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِهَا فَعَمِلَهَا كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ عَشَرَ حَسَنَاتٍ إِلَى 700 ضِعْفٍ إِلَى أَضْعَافٍ كَثِيرَةٍ. You give $20, right? You think of an action, you commit that action, you carry out that task. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Oh my slave, you are giving $20. No, but in reality, I will multiply that. It is as if you are giving nearly $2,000. Up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? He can multiply. It is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Multiplies it by 1,000, 2,000, إِلَى أَضْعَافٍ كَثِيرَةٍ, or how much, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides, right? وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِسَيِّئَةٍ. You think of a bad deed, right? You think of a bad deed. وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِسَيِّئَةٍ فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. Subhanallah. You think of a bad deed, but you don't carry out that bad deed. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala writes for you good deeds. Right? حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala writes down rewards for you for not committing that bad deed. وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِسَيِّئَةٍ فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. 4 rewards. On the other hand, وَإِنْ هَمَّ بِهَا, you think of something bad. فَعَمِلَهَا, you carry out that task. كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ سَيِّئَةً وَاحِدَةً. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. You do something, you think of something, you carry out that task. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not multiply it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you do something good. This is the mercy of Allah ta'ala. You do something good, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala definitely, indefinitely multiplies it. You do something bad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not multiply it. كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ سَيِّئَةً وَاحِدَةً. Just one bad deed is written for you. Rawahu al-Bukhari. Right. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of this. Now coming to Al Imran, coming to this surah, the name Imran was the name of the father of Maryam alayhi salam. Majority of ayahs were revealed after Muslims had migrated to Medina, which then talk about Badr and Uhud, right? In these ayahs and the ahkam of war. Also ahkam of interest, zakah and jihad. Not only this, a lot of questions are answered in this surah regarding Isa alayhi salam, right? As Nasara considered Isa alayhi salam the son of Allah, na'udhu billah, right? So a lot of questions are answered regarding Isa alayhi salam as well. A lot of Nasrani who lived in Najran, right? Near Najran is a place where a lot of Nasrani lived. So a delegation came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A wafd came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they asked a few questions. Half of Ali Imran answers these questions, the questions that they had. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we will discuss Isa alayhi salam, inshallah, when we get to Isa alayhi salam. Tomorrow, inshallah, we will discuss. The battle of Badr and the battle of Uhud, inshallah. But as for today, we will end with Surah Al Imran, and we will end with our, not Surah Al Imran, we will end with our third juz, right? So these are the things that we needed to cover today, covering Ayat al-Kursi, number 1. Thereafter, covering So covering Ayatul Kursi, then thereafter covering fada'il of virtues and merits of spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thereafter we covered riba, and last but not least we covered lending money, right, and few usul of lending money. Then that concluded Surah Baqarah. Surah Al Imran, as I mentioned, has these few things that I mentioned before a few minutes back. Stories of Isa alayhi salam, like I said, Isa alayhi salam with full details, and details of different prophets, inshallah we'll cover later on. Right? So these details we will cover later on. Majority of Al Imran covers details regarding Isa alayhi salam. It talks about ahkam of zakah, riba, and jihad. Jihad will not cover, zakah will not cover, interest we just covered a few things today. Right? And it talks about ahkam of Badr and Uhud. We will not get into the ahkam of Uhud and Badr, but however, we will inshallah discuss the details and the backstory of Uhud and Badr tomorrow inshallah. Right. So with this inshallah we complete our third juz for today. Right. Third juz for today. Our hadith of the day, inshallah, one hadith and one small story. As we understand, the first 10 days are the days of mercy, and the dua that we need to be reciting is رَبِّ اغْفِرْ وَرْحَمْ وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Right? Ya Allah, have mercy on us, as you are the most merciful. Now, on one occasion, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu mentions, قبل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, he kissed Hassan radiallahu anhu. Right? وعنده الأقرى بن حابس. وعنده الأقرى بن حابس. أقرى بن حابس radiallahu anhu, he is present at that time. What does he witness? He witnesses Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam kissing Hassan radiallahu anhu. So he questions. He says, إِنَّ لِي عَشَرَةً مِنَ الْوَلَدِ. Ya Rasulullah, I have 10 children. I have 10 boys. مَا قَبَّلْتُ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا. Ya Rasulullah, I have never kissed them. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam looked at him and said, مَنْ لَا يَرْحَمْ لَا يُرْحَمْ. Allahu Akbar. He who does not have mercy on others, he will not be shown mercy. Right? He who doesn't have mercy on others, he will not be shown mercy. And one more thing, sorry, before I forget, about sadaqah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in Surah Tawbah, telling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Ya Rasulullah, O my Prophet, take these people, instruct them to give sadaqah in fi sabilillah. Instruct them, take their wealth and encourage them to spend in fi sabilillah. Thereafter, وَصَلِّ عَلَيْهِمْ. Thereafter, you make dua for them. Now, subhanallah, ulama have mentioned in the tafsir, under the tafsir of this ayah, وَصَلِّ, the meaning of salli here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is instructing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And what dua are we talking about here? We are talking about of dua of maghfirah. Who is making dua? Not a regular person. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidul Anbiya, is making dua for those who do what? Those who go for Hajj? No. Those who go for Umrah? No. Those who fast? No. Those who pray Salah? No. O my Prophet, you make dua of istighfar, dua of maghfirah for those who do what? For those who spend in my path. Allahu Akbar. So you spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has made dua of maghfirah, not a regular person. And here, salli as we understand is amr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has instructed Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that, O my Prophet, O my beloved, you make dua, you are instructed to make dua for those who spend in my path. Right? So my dear respected brothers and sisters, that is the blessing for those who spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, another hadith pertaining to mercy, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, those who don't have mercy on people, those who don't have mercy on people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have mercy on them. Allahu Akbar. Those who don't have mercy on people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any mercy on them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not show any mercy to them. Right? And upon one occasion, دخل عامل لعمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه. A person came, right, to Umar رضي الله عنه. Now, this person was مستلقيا على ظهره. This person was just lying down on his back. وصبيانه يلعبون على بطنه. His children were playing on his stomach. You know how you have small children they play around you. They, sometimes this daughter comes or the son comes, he sits on her stomach, right? يلعبون على بطنه. They were just playing around him, sitting on his stomach. فأنكر ذلك عليه. This is something that he disliked, didn't like it, and he told him to get off. Don't go on me. The small children were playing around him. They were just playing with their father, right? فأنكر ذلك. He didn't like this. He disliked this, right? He said, no, come on, get away, move away. As some of us do. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So right away, Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, I need you to resign. Who is this person? He is one of the workers. He's one of the governors of Umar radiallahu anhu, right? One of his associates. Umar radiallahu anhu tells him, I need you to resign. This person says, yeah, Umar, why do I need to resign? Right? So, sorry, before I mention, I just missed one little part. So, فَأَنْكَرَ ذَلِكَ, this is something that he disliked, right? So, Umar radiallahu anhu, he asked him, كَيْفَ أَنْتَ مَعَ أَهْلِكَ? How are you with your family? How are you with your family? He said, when I enter the house, those who are speaking, they go quiet. He said, this is my situation, this is my position. When I enter the house, those who are talking, they go quiet because they know I've entered the house. I'm the don of the house. I'm the king of the house. So they go quiet. They don't talk anymore. They remain silent. So Umar radiallahu anhu tells this person, I need you to resign. He said, why? He said, what have I done? He said, I need you to resign because if you can't have mercy on your own family, see, this is one of the associates, one of the governors of Umar radiallahu anhu. If you can't have mercy, if you can't show mercy to your own family, how will you have mercy on the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? SubhanAllah, right? You can't have. I've given you this rank. I've given you this position, right? You are not rightly suited for this. You can't have mercy on your own family. How are you going to have mercy on the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I need you to resign, right? So then again, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity and the understanding of what has been heard and said. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also enable us to have mercy on others. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also enable us to emulate Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to absolute perfection. Ameen. Jazakallahu khairan for your time. Inshallah, I will see you tomorrow and we will continue with لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, the fourth juz, inshallah. Once again, I thank you for your time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in your time, your wealth and health. Ameen. جزاك الله خيرا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.